Okay, I think we may be live. I want to make sure that the video comes on the other screen, but you guys let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me, all that kind of thing. Okay, I think we may be live. Oh, I can hear me. Right on, Steve. Thanks. Logan, how are you? Steven, Scotsman, Sean. Got a couple people rolling in. I appreciate that. We'll give it a little bit of time, let people roll in and join us. Totally flexible tonight. We're on our own, hanging out, just talking whatever the heck we want to talk about. So I thought it'd be fun to do this, and kind of challenged by 17 and Big Johnson and some other people to do a live solo chat. So here we are, and we can just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I have no agenda whatsoever, and so this is just everybody hanging out, having a really good time. So yeah, KS Gun Guy, yes, for sure, Sean. Yes. So hope everybody's doing well. Coda Boy, good to see you. Driving down the road to loosen my load. That's great. I appreciate that. 17, always a pleasure. I didn't know you were French. Appreciate that. Let's see if you shot the PPL. You're probably are we talking the PPQ subcompact, Danny? I'm assuming. If it's the PPQ, no, I have not. I've not seen one yet. I don't know that there have been any around that I'm aware of. So I'll be keeping my eye out for that. I'd like to handle it, but to be honest with you, I haven't necessarily been very excited about it. A while back I did the VP9 SK, and that was a lot of fun. It was a great gun and kind of met those needs for me. I really felt like that was a fantastic subcompact. So the PPQ, if I run across it, the timing is right, and it feels good, whatever, maybe. They definitely have good triggers, all that kind of good stuff, and I don't think that's really changed so much with the PPQ. But again, it hasn't really inspired me entirely too much. So I don't know. We shall see. Let's see, Scab, the three guys is branching out like the Wu-Tang Clan. Yes, for sure. Yeah, we're trying some different things, and sometimes we like to talk about different things and kind of branch off, and we'll try it. We'll kind of see how this goes. Who knows? Big Johnson, good to see you. Andrew, always a pleasure. Shooting with Uncle Dan, appreciate you. Everybody, appreciate you joining me. We have a lot of fun with these chats, and it's fun to get to know you guys a little bit more and get to know what's on your mind. So yeah, Logan, I saw you just did the P9 review, so that'll be a lot of fun. The firearm guy, Parasitic, great to see you. Always a pleasure, my brother. Appreciate it. Firearms 101, good to see you as well. So again, there's no agenda here tonight. I don't really have any major topics. One thing I did want to share with you guys, I was over at Centerfire a little bit earlier tonight, just saying hi to everybody and kind of checking out what's going on. And I saw the Smith & Wesson Shield EZ and handled it for a little while and dry fired it, that sort of thing. And it's kind of a neat little gun. It didn't really inspire me. I didn't pick one up or anything like that. It's not really on my radar to review or anything. But I thought it was an interesting firearm, if nothing else. The one thing that I noticed, and I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance to handle one or shoot one. If you have, be sure to sound off. But the Armsmen, appreciate you, brother. Range Randy, good to see you. As soon as I picked up the EZ, the thing that I noticed right off the bat was it felt very toy-like. I mean, the grip felt a little bit more plasticky than normal, if that's even a possibility with a polymer firearm. But once I got it in my hand and started kind of dry firing it a little bit, the trigger's not really bad at all. It doesn't feel bad. That grip safety, that back grip safety, doesn't really bother me entirely too much. Yeah, Sean, I totally get it. I totally do. And the one thought I had about it was it would kind of be fun to shoot, because I've seen some other videos and it really does look like it's probably a lot of fun to shoot, because it's really not very small. I put it up against another Shield and it is absolutely bigger by probably, I don't know, 5%, 10% maybe. So it is a bigger gun for sure. But man, racking that slide is effortless. And the trigger is a little bit better because it's not a hinged trigger. It's just a standard trigger. But of course, it's got the thumb safety and the grip safety and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Parasitic. So Parasitic handled one and felt toyish as well. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It absolutely is. Alaskan, Compton, good to see you guys. Ozark, always a pleasure. Hunts, good to see you as well. Easy, I think, Steve, easy stands for easy, like as in easy to shoot, easy to rack, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think it was designed really to be something that is less. It's less work to make the gun run, basically to rack the slide, and the magazines are easy to load. They've got those little tabs, kind of like the 22 magazines do. So it's just kind of something a little bit different. Dave, good to see you. CW, always a pleasure as well. Joel, good to see you. So anyways, that's enough of that about the EZ there. It was kind of a fascinating little thing for sure. Joel is asking, can anyone recommend a tritium sight for the CZ-P10C? Joel, it's a really good question. There aren't many options right now. CZ Custom has an option. CZ is now shipping a lot of the P10s with the night sights. I'll be honest with you, the easiest thing I found to do, and you're going to laugh at this, I actually bought another P10 just so I could get the night sights on mine. And I sold the new P10 for the exact amount of money that I paid for it, because they basically are commanding new prices used right now, because they're still relatively hard to find. So so I don't know if that's the best answer for you, but that's what I did, and it actually, you know, it worked just fine. So you know, something to think about. Red and Black, good to see you, man. Is the P365 replacing your PPS M2? That's a really good question. I actually don't have the PPS M2 anymore. Once I got into the Shield and really got comfortable with it, I didn't feel a need for two single stacks. Now, the PPS and the Shield are both phenomenal guns. I still like the PPS M2 a lot. The ergos are phenomenal on it. It's a great shooter. The trigger's decent out of the box. It just didn't make sense to keep both of them. And I knew a guy who really wanted one, so I was able to make my money back on it. So it was just kind of it's something that made sense at the time. So so right now I've got the Shield and of course the 365. I've got a 43 on loan and a 42 on loan as well. So I want to try and kind of figure out some of the differences between some of these really small guns, and I haven't been spending a whole lot of time with them. So so I thought it'd be fun to do some comparisons and some if I could only have ones and that sort of thing. So those will be coming along before entirely too long. And it's very interesting. I certainly have some thoughts on the triggers, especially the Glock triggers. So more on that for sure. Red and Black, I know. Again, like I said, the PPS M2 is a fantastic gun. You can't go wrong with it. I just, from a practicality standpoint, I just didn't need that many single stacks around. So just kind of the way it goes. As far as the reliability goes, Armsmen, so far it's been uber reliable. So that part has been great. Now I've only put 250 rounds through my gun. And you probably didn't catch last night's chat, but because there's a little bit of peening at the front of the interior of the slide where the barrel and the barrel lug hit it, I decided to go ahead and ship it off to SIG. So I've got a stand-in P365. This is also from a buddy of mine. And so that's what I'm going to be doing some reviews on. But then when mine comes back from SIG, I'll be able to show everybody hopefully all of the fixes on it and what they did and that sort of thing. So I'm you know, kind of fingers crossed that it's going to come back. But again, from a functionality standpoint, it was absolutely fantastic. It really was. So I've been extraordinarily impressed with the 365. It's been a lot of fun, and that trigger is just phenomenal on it. As long as you grip it right, I think it'll run. Hunts, do I still have both of my P10Cs? No, I do not. I just have the FDE P10. Again, it's kind of one of those things where I just didn't necessarily feel a need for two. Sometimes we do impulse buys. You guys admit it. We have impulse buys as gun people. Steve R., do you keep all the guns you review? I wish. No, I do not. I can't. There's no way. I don't have the budget for that sort of thing at all. Generally speaking, when I wheel in a new gun, something has gone. That's almost always the way it is, unless it's something that's like in the, you know, $300, $400, $500 range, you know, once every couple months perhaps. But otherwise, no, I don't keep them. I really wish I could. Let's see. Frank KS said you can't ask any questions. Oh, shut up, Big Johnson. Ask away as many questions as you want. But Steve, again, you know, I wish I could keep them all, but I set out doing this channel knowing full well that there were going to be some really good guns that were going to slip through my hands, because, you know, if I want to keep doing reviews and having new content and new guns and exploring new guns and having fun with them, I wouldn't be able to keep them all. So there are some that I do keep, but not all of them. Yeah, Hunts, I won't say anything else. I promise. I promise. Lee, does anyone know if there's a Glock 19 MOS Gen 5? 19, I haven't heard anything. You know, they have the 34 Gen 5 MOS now, so it's an option if you don't mind a longer slide. And the 34 is a phenomenal firearm, but I haven't heard anything yet. I would imagine that's something that they probably will do, but they probably want to sell as many regular ones as possible before they bring out an MOS, because everybody will sell their old ones or whatever and then buy the MOS. So that's kind of how Glock typically operates from what I see. So Scotsman structure, we need structure. We do not need, who needs structure? We don't need structure at all. So Parasitic, I'm with you, man. We wish we could buy all new stuff and keep everything. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Is it full semi-auto? No, not full semi-auto. It's semi-auto. Music lover, you asked this question last night. I'm really sorry we didn't get to this. I did see that last night. Opinions on target pistols. And guys, this is for everybody in the room. What are your opinions on good target pistols? And music, I'm assuming you're just talking about going to the range, having a good time, plinking, and just kind of, dialing in some skills, that sort of thing. I mean, I do that fairly often. There are a lot of options. So it comes down to probably larger firearms, compact to full size firearms. And then you kind of span the gamut. Do you want double action, single action? Do you want striker fire? Do you want 1911? A lot of different options there. For me, my favorite range guns are probably my XV-TAC, the P320 XV-TAC, and the X5. I have a lot of fun with those. And then, of course, the Shadow 2. I consider all of those just target guns, really. The V-TAC could be a home defense gun, but generally speaking, they're just target guns, and I have a blast with those. So that is what it is. Guys, real quickly, thank you all for joining me. I don't think I've said that yet tonight, so you guys freaking rock. This is a ton of fun. Let's see. Huns, thank you. Appreciate it. I did notice the thumbs down right at the very beginning. My mother must have stopped by at some point in time. I appreciate that, Mom. Let's see. Logan, want a striker fired. Don't like hammer fired so much. Yeah, I totally understand. Striker fired, there's a big advantage to that. Every trigger pull is exactly the same. And there's something really nice, something to say about that for sure. I tend to gravitate towards Glocks and Smith & Wessons and SIGs, that sort of thing. Those, I know that's kind of boring, but those are kind of my go-to guns, really. So thanks, Scotsman. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Patrick, SIG P365 or Glock 26 Gen 5. Now, I've had several Glock 26s, but not a Gen 5. So I can only speak to my experience on the Gen 5 19 and 17. I imagine they feel basically the same. From a trigger pull standpoint, I think they are a little bit improved over previous generations. But when I'm going to go a smaller gun, why not make it as small as possible but still shootable? Right now, I would say the P365, but if you give me 3 or 4 months, I may change my opinion on that, because the 26 is a fantastic gun. I carried a 26 for, I don't know, a year, a little bit over a year, and they're great shooting guns. They run forever. Dave, I know. Well, I got rid of the PPS M2 actually quite a while ago. This might have been 3 months ago or so, 2.5, 3 months ago. So it was long before the 365 was a twinkle in the eye, so to speak. And again, that was intentional. It just didn't make sense to have that many guns, single stack guns around. So thanks, Scotsman. It is a shit show, but it's a fun shit show because, we're all in it together, of course. Let's see. So Compton, Glock 26 all the way seriously. Again, yeah, it's a great gun. There's no doubt about it. If you like shooting a Glock 19, the 26, you could step right into it and just keep on running all day long. And it'll take basically any magazine, which is kind of nice too. So there are a lot of pluses to that. Yeah, shooting it with Uncle Dan, G19. Absolutely. I still have one, that 19C. I love that gun. That gun is going nowhere. It is a ton of fun to shoot. It's loud and it's dirty, but it's a lot of fun. Hunts, as far as Gen 5 Glocks go, I don't like the 19. However, the 15, do you mean the 17, I'm assuming, Hunts? feels better in the hand. Let's see. I think it's due to the cutout in front of the grip. Yeah, no, I totally get it. That's something that a lot of people have beat up Glock for, and I did too. I really didn't understand. I mean, I understood the theory behind it, whatever, but I just it made very little sense, and you definitely could feel it with the 19 when you were shooting it, no doubt about it. Need to drink more. Music lover from Frank Hellman. Amen, brother. Beretta APX is a great gun. Yeah, Scotsman, it is a great gun. You guys know I was overwhelmingly impressed with that. It really was. Gizzard Gary, good to see you. Garage Guy, good to see you as well. M&P Shield 9, yeah, you know, I got to say the Shield is phenomenal. That's a carry gun for me, that and the 2.0C, and I love the Shield. I think it's phenomenal. It is a great gun. It's an all-day shooter. When we start talking about some of those little guns, whether it's the Glock 43 or any of those single stacks, some of them are not really shootable all day long, and I would actually throw the 43 in that category. I've been shooting this Loner 43 a little bit alongside the P365, and the P365 may not be an all-day shooter either. The Shield, because it's a little bit bigger, and I think the ergonomics are just a tiny bit better in that upgraded 2.0 grip, I think that is an all-day shooter, and that's pretty cool for such a little gun, even with a little bit more recoil and that sort of thing. So, I think that's kind of cool. Thanks, Big Johnson. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, Dave, the X5, man. The X5 is a phenomenal gun. V-Borg, good to see you. Two-wheeling nut. Wife just picked up the Easy Shield tonight. Let's see. Anyone have a look at that yet? So a two-wheel, we actually just talked about that a little while ago. I saw one for the first time tonight. It's definitely got some pros and cons for me in my eyes, but I think from a shootability standpoint, I did not shoot it. I imagine it probably is a ton of fun to shoot. I mean, that slide is so easy to rack. The ergonomics are pretty decent on it, and the trigger is actually pretty good. It doesn't have the hinge trigger, which is nice. It's got thumb safeties, although I understand they're going to have a non-thumb safety version coming out here pretty soon. But I think it's got the makings for a good shooting gun. So, again, I haven't decided to take the plunge into that. It just doesn't make sense right now for me to do on the channel. But again, I thought it was a pretty cool gun, and the grip safety on the back didn't bother me one bit. I know a lot of people have griped about that. We've been dealing with grip safeties on 1911s and Springfield Armories and that sort of thing for quite some time. So really, as long as you're gripping the gun when you're shooting it, it really shouldn't have any sort of an impact. So keep me posted on what you think of that Easy. I'd be curious to know what you think, what your wife thinks. That would be really cool. Patrick, what are your favorite 3 9mm handguns and why? That's really tough. Currently, I would say probably the P320 X Carry. I'd say probably the 2.0C is pretty awesome, and then it would be a toss-up between the Glock 19C and the P10C. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I need to catch up, guys. I know it's getting away from me here a little bit. Hunt's asking about the Shield 45 to Andrew Roche. I like the Shield 45. I think it's a great gun for sure. Sean is saying his Shield's got a little bit of rust, but carries it all the time. I've heard that. I've heard depending on, I think, where in the country you live, depending on the humidity and maybe salt in the air and that sort of thing, some people have had some problems with that on their M&Ps. I don't really have that problem in the Midwest, but I've heard that several times. So I'm going to try and catch up here a little bit. So if somebody had a question that I'm scrolling past, ask it again if you would please. Eddie is asking what's going on with YouTube. It didn't tell me this was on. Just got here. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. I sent a notification out probably 45 minutes ago, so that was partially my fault. I didn't do it as fast as as early as I should have, and partly because I wasn't really sure I was going to do this tonight. I think this is going to be kind of an inspiration thing. It won't be every Thursday because we have our Wednesday night chats with my brothers Big Johnson and 1776 or Bust. And that's kind of the primary chat, at least for me, and I think for the other guys as well. So this will be just kind of an ad hoc when we all feel like it. So we'll just kind of wing it. Steven, appreciate it. Yeah, Sean, so you're in Florida. That would make sense from what I've heard. More coastal areas might have more of a problem. And again, I'm speaking just simply from what other people have told me, so I don't really have any actual experience with that, but I think it would make sense. Music lover, most accurate gun in people's opinion aside from the shooter. Did I read that right, music? I hope I did. Yeah, brothers from other mothers for sure, absolutely. Couldn't deal with you weekly. Red and black, amen, brother. I couldn't deal with me weekly either. Mateo, good to see you. Yes, already had a thumbs down. It's a toss-up between the Scotsman and my mom. We can't decide which one it is. Scotsman kind of claims it, but I still think it might be my mom. So I'm not really sure. So Frank, I sent out a video notice, but I also sent out a community notice. And I did get that actually, because I have my personal Gmail account. So I get my own notifications to make sure that they go out, of course, and to troll myself. I troll myself a lot, but I did get the little message, and it basically looks like I'm putting a comment. If you had a channel, it'd be like I'm putting a comment on your channel. So it's the first time I've seen that, but hopefully it works pretty well. So, shooting it, good to see you. It's got to be your mom. It probably is my mom, you know, probably is. All right, did I miss any good questions here? I know I'm a little bit behind. My mother does have a YouTube account, actually, and actually she occasionally watches the videos, and she tells me every time, hey, they're great. I don't understand anything, but it's pretty cool. It's cool, and got a little bit of support from the parents. I don't know that they're 100% gun, in favor of guns, but they're not 100% against them either. I think they're somewhere in the middle. So we have some pretty interesting conversations sometimes. Yes, Dave, fast and furious for sure. But that's awesome. I really appreciate that. And you guys always carry on your own conversations too. So that helps out a ton. Stephen, do you think in the future you'll do some long gun reviews? I don't know. I can't say yes and I can't say no. Periodically, in fact, tonight when I was at Centerfire looking at that EZ, I was also looking at the scarce supply of ARs that they had, and they had a couple, but they don't excite me very much. As some of you guys know, I've owned one AR in the past, a Franklin Armory, and it was a fine gun. There was nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed shooting it. It was a nice gun, I guess. I know very little about them, but handguns, just there's something about handguns. I just much prefer it. Scotsman, she probably does fall asleep. No, she just tells me she doesn't understand what I'm talking about. So, it is what it is. Lights, lasers, grenade launchers, you bet, red and black. Somebody told me I need a new line there, so I may have to work on that. We may have to add in chainsaws or something, something a little different. Yeah, Logan, I agree. No, the parents are pretty awesome for sure. Frank, will the P365 become my regular carry? Well, that largely depends on how mine comes back from SIG, and when I run it again, if there's any more damage or anything like that. Because although it functioned fine, and I would be confident carrying it and knowing that it would work, I probably would put another 200 or 300 rounds through it. But so far, again, functionality has been fantastic, and it's a great shooter. But there's something about, if it's being damaged while it's being shot, I have a problem with that. And again, not from a self-defense standpoint, but just I don't want the gun to be damaged. So hopefully it'll be a daily carry. I've got a Harry's holster ready to go for it, as you guys saw in the video. So, we'll have to see. Mateo, it sounds like I need an AK. I don't know. I'm a little bit more of an, if I was to go long rifles, admittedly, and make fun of me if you want, I would probably go for an AR. I tend to like that style a little bit more. Again, a total novice. I may change my mind if I shot more AKs. I don't think I've actually ever shot an AK. I've shot a couple of 30-30s and 30-06s, lever guns, but I don't know. I just don't know. We'll see. Scotsman, threaded barrel or not, and why? I got to take a drink here. It depends on the application. I've got a threaded barrel on the P01 Omega, and it's great. And I'm going to throw a can on it and probably throw that in a video at some point in time. We've got a bunch of cans up at Centerfire to use. So threaded barrels definitely have some applications. From a practical standpoint, from a carry standpoint, it wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't see a need for it because you're not putting anything on it. I would assume you're not carrying with a can or anything like that. And you've got to worry about the thread protector or not having the thread protector on, so there could be some damage potentially. So for me, probably not from a carry standpoint. Let's see, Logan, see the shadow box in the background. Do you collect pens? No, I do not. So some of you guys know I was a musician. I was a musician for 30 years, professionally for 20. And in my junior high and high school days, I was a band geek, absolutely. And I'll admit it. Those are all awards from musical accomplishments of various sorts or another back in junior high. And dear old mom, before she was giving me thumbs up on my videos or thumbs down on my videos, she did things like put them in shadow boxes and that sort of thing. So I will be interested in what happens to your P365 red and black. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I mean, again, so far it really has been a good gun for sure. My Life, good to see you. Still have no idea when the 365 will come in, and the XV-Tac I bought Tuesday, oversold. Now waiting on that one as well. Brother, I'd send you mine to just play around with. I really would. They are a ton of fun. And check out the Apex trigger and trigger bar for it as well. I highly recommend that. It'll clean up that trigger and keep me posted. Please do. Oh, what else is going on here? Is Coda's still hanging in there, man? I appreciate that, buddy. It takes sips of bourbon. Hey, it is bourbon. It is bourbon. It's always bourbon. I like Scotch too, but around here it's bourbon. I grew up on bourbon. Let's see here. Randy, what instruments did I play? I was a drummer and a singer as well, but drummer. So I was a singing drummer. I was a Phil Collins kind of guy. Being an '80s drummer, that was kind of the big thing, to be able to sing and play drums. So I was a drummer for 30 years, and I finally had to retire because my hands were kind of falling apart a little bit. So decided to hang up the sticks and start shooting guns instead because it's much easier on your hands. It's not at all. Scotsman, red dot or scope? Red dot. Don't even have to think about that. And I'm not a long distance person, so I have no need for a scope, really. My Life not sold on the Apex triggers for SIGs. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I would recommend giving it a try. I would recommend giving it a try just to see what you think. I actually been really impressed. I've done a lot on the flat triggers, but Apex sent me a curved one. I think I mentioned that in a video. I hope. But that curved advanced trigger is actually fantastic. So if you change your mind, I think it would be well worth it. So yes, Logan, there was a time when I was a singer, believe it or not lead. They never let me sing lead, but I was always kind of a backup singer. So in a hair band, no, Big Johnson, not in a hair band. No. Can I, Scotsman? Can I grow a beard? No, I cannot grow a beard. Can't do it. I'm Irish all day long, and it's all thin and gross and nasty. I can't get away with it. I will not sing you a tune, Red and Black. The throat hasn't been used to sing in a very, very long time. So no singing. Joel, has anyone tried the HB Industries trigger shoe for the P10? Yes, both the production and the there was one that was a prototype. I don't know that they put that one actually out yet. I wish 17 was still here. You might be able to answer that. But yeah, I've done them both, and they're absolutely fantastic. They don't necessarily change the trigger pull at all, but the feel is fantastic. Very flat, very good quality, good construction. I recommend giving those a try for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, Hunts, thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, definitely do have that trigger in there. Gray guns, flat triggers for SIG P series. So Sean, I actually was looking into that. I'm glad you said that. I've thought about doing actually a flat trigger in the Legion. Would that be a bad idea? If you've got some experience with that, let me know, man. Ranger Andy, KS, Ginger Baker. I know Ginger Baker, you betcha. That's old school right there, brother. Get a tan at least. Yeah, Scotsman, I don't tan anymore. When I was a little kid, I used to tan. Now I just burn. It's a product of being old. Red and Black, am I ever going to do a revolver? I don't know. I've thought about it. I've actually thought about doing something like a Ruger, the LC, is it the LC9, LCR9 maybe? Something about a 9mm Ruger, but a couple of people have told me that they have potential issues. Sometimes some of the brass could potentially go a little bit too far into the chamber. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of investigating that, but potentially, yeah, on 17 probably is still shoveling. That poor guy got a lot of snow. He definitely did. Music, only been shooting for less than 2 years, and I've learned a lot. Music, that's just awesome. I think that's badass. And you really have. You've brought a lot to the table. I read all your comments, and you've got a lot going on there, so that's awesome. No, Scotsman, I may do a revolver. Sorry if you misunderstood. There may be a revolver in the future. I just don't know what it would be yet. I'm still kind of investigating. I don't know very much about revolvers, to be honest with you. I've had a couple of J frames in the past, and they were fine guns. It was one of those deals where I was never that excited to shoot them. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Sean, I put one on my P228. This was back to the Gray Guns trigger. It makes the double action terrible, but the single action awesome. Interesting. Why does it make the double action bad, I wonder? But that is definitely very good to know. Although the double action is kind of it's pretty damn heavy on P series guns anyways. So but yeah, it's really good to know. I appreciate that. I may still look into one. Let's see. Compton Terry, Buddy Miles, Jimi Hendrix drummer. Yeah, man, he could groove. He could groove. He was a pocket drummer. We're talking music here for a moment, people. He was a pocket drummer. He played in the pocket, and for drummers, for music people, that's a kind of a big deal. So look that one up if you don't know about it. Scotsman, need to talk to me regarding revolvers. Okay, Scotsman, we will talk about revolvers because I do need some education on that. Steer me in the right direction for sure. So, Fu, Master Chu, appreciate you, brother. Good to see you as always. 17 is back. Second cameo of the evening. Steyr is making a single stack. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Is it going to have the same ergonomics? Is it going to be kind of the same idea as the old guns? I'd be curious about that. We want to know about the snow, by the way. Let us know what's going on there, buddy. Any other questions, guys? I'm trying to kind of scroll through here and see what's going on. You're making the Steyr thing up. What is wrong with you? Everybody give 17 a thumbs down. Let's see what's going on here. So I'm caught up on the comments. I don't see very many questions right now. So I did also handle the LCP2 when I was there. A couple of guys, and a couple of you it might be a couple of the guys in here tonight mentioned potentially doing the LCP2 as a review. And I had an LCP back when they very first came out, and it was an okay gun. I think I've probably grown past those, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's still a very good gun, but it didn't sit very well in my hand this time. It didn't feel very good. It was too small, and my hands are kind of average large hands. They're not overwhelmingly large mitts or anything like that, but just small enough to where it just I don't know that I'm going to do it. I don't know. Let's see. Big Johnson, KS, you have a question. VP9 versus 2.0. I would, but the VP9 is gone. That is another one of those guns that had to go to make room for new things. So I can't do it right now. Maybe someday in the future, potentially. Stephen Worth, what is your favorite pistol now? That's really tough. Are we talking practical application? Are we talking just favorite pistol? No criteria whatsoever. If it's no criteria whatsoever, it's the Shadow 2. That gun is so extraordinary to shoot. To me, I mean, that's merely opinion, but I absolutely love shooting that gun, and any excuse I get to go shoot the Shadow 2, I'm really excited. The next one down from that would probably be the Legion 229. I mean, those two guns are just a ton of fun. Stephen, who are you giving a thumbs down to? That's a whole lot of thumbs down. Let's see. Frank Hillman, LCPs are way too small, but can hide. Yeah, and that's it. That's the point. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I should have said that along with it. It's a little bit too small for my hand, but it's brilliant that you can toss it in a pocket. You don't feel it, and it's there when you need it. So long as you can grip it, for sure. So Garage Guy is saying Taurus G2, PT11, or the Sky. So I don't have experience with either one of them, but I would love to try a Taurus. I don't have as much interest in the Sky, to be honest with you. I've heard enough negative things about the Sky, and it's just from what I've heard. I have no personal opinion about it, just enough reviews that I don't know that I would jump into that one. But the Taurus I would actually like to try. I know Codis had a lot of fun with his PT111, so I may try that at some point down the road. I think I saw Sandpaper in there. So Sandpaper and Big Johnson both. Those are the guys I owe for the Shadow 2. I mean, they got me into that, and that gun is just absolutely incredible. Fu Master, no HK. Are you insane? Things drift in and out of the collection, brother. I love HK, but just right now there aren't any here. I always make room for them someday down the road, but just trying to experience new and different things. The VP9 will always remain one of my top, certainly 10 guns of all time. It absolutely will, for sure. So I will leave room for that to maybe walk back in at some point down the road. CW Hunter, if you get the finger extension for the LP2, not too bad, or LCP2 rather, not too bad. Yeah, I imagine that's true. It's still, I mean, it's so small. So I've got the 42 here right now. I was doing the 25-cent trigger job, and I think I made the trigger worse on that, so I'm pretty proud of that. As I sit here and handle this, and I've always liked the 42. I mean, I think I had one of the first 42s in Kansas City. I was basically an asshole and sort of jumped the counter to get one of the first 42s, but it worked. I got it. And as I sit here and I handle this thing, trigger's awful. It's about as small as I would want to go, and it's about the same size as the P365, but the P365's got a little bit wider grip. It's a little bit more comfortable. So I don't know. Let's see. What is going on here. Oh, sorry. 17 is making a video. Okay, I see how it goes. Fu's saying I do have the S2, the Shadow 2. I'm telling you, brother, that is a different world of shooting. It is a different world of shooting. Let's see, Frank, I'm sending you my PPQ for a trigger job. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So I've probably taken apart 50 Glocks in my time and done trigger jobs and installed parts and that sort of thing. I was a Glock fanboy, I'll admit it, for a long, long time. That's all I used to own years and years ago. But for whatever reason, I've taken apart both the 43 and the 42, and I've done the full trigger job, the whole 9 yards, cleaned everything up. I mean, they are pristine and sparkling. The triggers feel like crap. And so I'm doubting myself. Did I put these stupid things back together the way they're supposed to be done? So I actually jumped out and watched a couple of YouTube videos just to see if other people are doing it the way I'm doing it. And yeah, it's because they're basically the same as any other Glock. There's one difference, but they're basically the same. But I think I actually did something wrong with the triggers. So I've got to take them all apart again and start over from scratch. But we'll see what happens. Logan is asking, and I think he's asked this a couple of times, does anyone on the chat review air guns? So if anybody either does air gun reviews or knows of any air gun reviews, let us know, please. Ball did a trigger job on his H9. He's got balls. Yeah, amen to that, man. I won't go down that rabbit hole. Two-wheeling nut. The LCP is a last resort, get out of my face pocket gun. Practice enough to be confident, but not a fun range toy. Amen. That's well put. I think you're absolutely right. That is a last line of defense gun for sure. And again, I go back to its convenience. I mean, it's tiny. You do not feel that thing on you. And it's cool. I think they come with a pocket holster and that sort of thing with the LCP too. So they definitely have their perks for sure. Big Johnson, did you get your package yet? Okay, you guys are talking good. Let's see. Dave Gass is asking if you shot the Shield 2.0 9mm. I sure do love mine over the one. Dave, yes. I had a video out a long time ago on the 2.0 Shield. It's a carry gun. I absolutely love it. And it's all decked out now. It's got the Apex trigger, Ameriglow IDOT sights. I absolutely love that. Now, one thing I'm going to do with that Apex trigger, it's got the full duty kit in it right now. All the springs that came with the kit. I'm going to switch back to the stock return spring. That duty return spring is pretty stout. So it really just tosses your finger back out. So I want something that I can control a little bit better and not worry about the spring so much. But yeah, the Shield 2.0 is a tremendous gun. And I was a fan of the Shield 1.0 as well. I really liked them both. Okay, what else is going on, guys? Compton Terry is saying always wanted an NAA Wasp in 22 mag. Such a cool gun. I'm not familiar with that gun. I know very little or nothing about it, but it sounds kind of cool. I like your 22 mags are cool guns. They're just a little bit expensive for basically a 22, a hot 22. Jill is asking about the Olight Valkyrie mini weapon light. I've got a review on it. Check that out in the catalog. I still have it. It's so far it has continued to work. It's been fine. I've taken it to the range maybe 3 or 4 times, and it seems to do fine. I actually like the fact that it's chargeable. I know a lot of people say, you know, in a shit hit the fan sort of situation, you want batteries, not something that has to be charged, which I get. That makes sense. But from a normal day-to-day application, you know, it's nice. It's really good. It's very small. It's a little heavy, but it's small. The only criticism I have is that little the clip that actually puts it on the rail. It's a little swinging clip, so to speak. It kind of sticks out a little bit. So if you're going to put it in a holster, you're probably going to need to get some sort of custom holster or find a company that makes one specifically for the Olight. I don't think there are that many options out there yet. So still a very good light though. 17 is giving Sean crap. Well done, Sean. What'd you do? The Armsman is saying try a Canetti. Is it Canetti Tech, I guess, trigger on a 43. All right, I will take a look into that. Again, it's a loaner 43 and 42, so I don't want to do very much with it. But if the owner is okay with that and wants to pay for it, yeah, I'll do whatever. I don't care. Logan, how's the bourbon? Yes, the bourbon is great. Thank you, appreciate it. Starting to feel a little bit warm, so that's always nice. Appreciate it. Let's see, CW Hunter hanging on to the LCP2 now for the only 380. I'll be picking up the P365 after canceling my original order. Seems like SIG has made some changes to make reliable. Yeah, and guys, so I've had a lot of conversation with people in comments on the P365 video about which guns have the changes and which don't. And we've been talking serial numbers. So all of you, anybody who's interested and wants a P365 but wants a new one, I will tell you that the serial number on mine that is actually headed back to SIG right now is in the 7,000s. This loaner is in the 2000s, and neither one of them had the changes. They both had the X-ray sights, but neither one of them had the updates to the barrel hood or anything like that. So, I mean, I think the damage is going to be the same for both of them. I was talking with a couple people in the comments, and one guy had one that had serial number in the 4000s, and he said that he had the changes done on his. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be. Who knows? But I would just, you know, take apart the gun and see if the barrel has got cutouts, special kind of recessed cutouts in the upper portion of the barrel hood right there. I mean, I think that's going to be the best way to tell if you've got an updated gun, because if your gun seller says, oh yeah, it's got it all, don't believe them. They don't know. So, you know, make sure you take it apart and take a look at the whole thing. Dave Gass, let's see. Eddie PR wants to know what you like better, the HKVP9 or the M&P 2.0 9mm. He's asked a few times. Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Eddie PR. I'm very sorry I missed your question. That's a really tough question. Right now, I'm really enjoying the M&P 2.0C. It's a phenomenal gun, and with the Apex trigger, it kind of sets that to 11. It really does. But the VP9, like I said earlier, will always remain, I think, probably a top 10 of all time guns. It's phenomenal. The ergonomics are really good. It's a quality built gun. Mine ran flawlessly always. So it's tough. If you're going to buy one, buy either one, buy both of them. Either way, I think you're going to be doing fine. Steve is saying still waiting on that Olight review from 1776. Yeah, 17. Come on, man, get on the bandwagon, dude. Let's see. Did I get a haircut? I got them all cut, but that was like a week ago. Thanks for noticing. Sig went to crap once Cohen took over. Cohen ruined Kimber as well. This is from S3421. You're not the first person to say that. I've heard a couple of people remark about that. I will say I'm noticing a trend, and other people have noticed this as well, where Sig is putting out new firearms or iterations of firearms, and they're sort of spitting them out to the public, and either knowing or there's a potential for there to be some problems like the P365 or maybe the drop issues with the 320 or P320, whatever it is. And they will continue to develop it as they are pushing guns out the door. Guys, and again, I'm not trying to spread rumors. I do not know this for a fact. This is merely some conversations with people in comments. But there's, it makes sense, I suppose. And once they get, 10,000, 7,000, whatever it is, then they start, getting them back in and making fixes to them, and newer guns that come out have the fixes. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but fairly interesting if that's true. Bald, yes, you just watched us yesterday, but now you're only watching me. You're watching the best of the three. So obviously we're having a much better time here. Don't tell Big Johnson in 1776 I just said that. Stephen is agreeing with me. Yeah, and again, these are people that are just putting comments and saying we think this is possibly happening, and based upon what I've seen, it makes sense. It's possible that they're doing that. Sean is saying they're doing their R&D on their customers. It would be unfortunate if they're doing that, but again, I can't rule it out, man. I can't rule it out. That is what Big Johnson in 1776 said as well, and they're both sharing their feedback on that. 17's a little bit more upfront about it. We all know I'm the best, so there's that. Flame war. We're not going to get into a flame war. We're all brothers. We all dig the guns. We dig the pew pew life. I will never say that again. Don't ever let me say that again. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said. Joel, SIG seems to be doing the same thing that Springfield, Glock, Smith, using people as their field test. Yeah, again, it's possible. Hopefully not. I hope not. If I gave you 100, what bottle of bourbon would you buy? Compton, I would buy 500 rounds of 9mm with $100. No, what bourbon would I buy with $100? I've never bought a $100 bottle of bourbon. I'll get things like Maker's Mark or Basil Hayden or Russell's Reserve, things like that. Now I'm drinking Kentucky Gentleman right now because actually I really like Kentucky Gentleman, and I can get a 175 for $15, and it's very smooth. It's fine, does the job. But I like good bottles of bourbon as well. That's special occasion sort of thing. But I have never even contemplated spending over probably $45 for a bottle of bourbon. So I don't know. You'd have to make a recommendation for me, brother, because I just don't know. I just don't know. Big Johnson is saying Blanton's. Yeah, I don't know. Logan, any new guns expected? No, not right now. Kind of a continuation of last night's conversation with my brothers out there. None of us are really that excited for very many new guns. I mean, the P365 was kind of the big it gun for me for the year. Beyond that, it's based upon, if I stumble upon a good deal on something that looks interesting or people have recommended it, like the PX4 Storm. A lot of people have talked about that, so it's on the radar. It's kind of low down because I've got to get through some content and some other things first, and then offload some of the stuff that I've got. But beyond that, I don't know. I really don't. I don't have any real aspirations or dreams for very much. Hunts is saying Dewar's. I like Dewar's Scotch. I do for sure, and that's my grandmother's favorite Scotch. So I grew up in a family of people that drink bourbon and Scotch, so that's why I drink the bourbon. It's just how we grew up. And Christmas time, and I don't know if you guys have ever had these, but it's a sweet treat. They're bourbon balls and made with real bourbon, and there's chocolate and all that kind of stuff. They are delightful. So we were eating those even as kids. So it's no wonder that I like the bourbon. Stephen, don't forget the ice. I do like it on the rocks. The rocks have melted by now, so it's pure bourbon, buddy. And yes, Bald, I am a cheap bastard for sure. No doubt about it. And Bald, once again, did Hudson send you a free H9? Not going to happen, buddy. That conversation, sadly, is done at this point in time. So I think both parties have moved on. Foo, I have a PX4 9mm that you should try out there. Sweet shooters. Yeah, man, people keep saying that. We were talking about that last night over and over again. 17's looked at them. I've looked at them. Big Johnson, I think, has probably looked at them as well. Maybe he's had one. I'm not sure. But people keep saying the PX4 is a great gun. So it will be a gun that I do this year. I will do it. I don't know when. I'd like to find a used one if at all possible, because generally when I see them around, and like Cabela's is one of the only places in Kansas City that I really see that stocks them, and I don't buy guns from Cabela's as much as I can avoid. I want to find a pretty good deal on one if at all possible. So Scotsman, did I say that I just ate balls? Yeah, bourbon balls. It's a sweet treat during Christmas time. Come on now. What's wrong with you? Mateo's saying, thinking about picking up a PX4. Yeah, man. What's the deal with these things? You guys are going to have to keep me filled in on all this PX4 stuff. Sean is saying, can't wait for the CZ-P10 SC. I'm with you, brother. The P10 it's been a real joy. It has been a ton of fun. Spectac, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while. Much more than when those other two bums around. Amen, brother. No offense, Big Johnson and 17. Spec, I haven't seen a video from you in a while. What gives with that, buddy? Let's see. Make sure you get the Type C. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you guys are going to have to educate me on this. So I've got Scotsman's going to educate me on revolvers, and the rest of you need to educate me. Foo, I'm going to be hitting you up, and Spectac, I'll be hitting you guys up for PX4 recommendations. But again, I gotta try and find something used if at all possible. My Live saying, I thought about getting a concealed carry compact PX4, but the grip is awful. I don't like the placement of the takedown. That compact one looks crazy. It looks like a space alien gun a little bit. I'm kind of with you. I would prefer a larger PX4, like the normal. I don't know if it's a compact or whatever it is. Let's see. Joel Ohms, the CZ-P10 SC. So when they first put out the P10, if you go into the manual and you take a look, there are specs for two other P10s. I shouldn't say P10Cs. There's a P10 long slide and a P10 sub compact in there. So at some point in time, and CZ reps have confirmed, I mean, they will come out. They just have never confirmed when. So that will be coming at some point in time, and I will definitely be first in line for those because the P10's just been a ton of fun. Mateo was saying, if I get a PX4, I will immediately get the G decocker conversion. I think I've seen a couple of other channels talk about some of the like G or D or some of these different letters. That's kind of foreign territory to me. So again, I'm gonna depend on you guys to educate me on all that kind of stuff. So. Steve is talking about chocolate salty balls. Whatever you're into, buddy. Appreciate it. Spec, I'm sorry about your son. Hopefully he's better. I know that's rough for sure. Guys, any last questions? We're getting towards 8 o'clock, and it's the witching hour for me. I'm an early bird at work, so so it's getting close to time to wrap this up. And once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You guys freaking rock, man. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. It's always a blast to just have a conversation with you guys and watch some of the conversation you guys have with each other. What a great community. It makes me proud. You know, we talk about some of the things that are going on outside of our little piece of the community, and it's really fun and really inspiring to see all of you good people, you know, just enjoying the love of guns, and you know, that's why I do it as well. So you know, once again, thank you guys very much. So again, any last questions at all? 10mm opinions. Arms, I've never shot one. I don't have much of an opinion. I'd like to shoot one at some point in time. So look for that at some point in time down the road. We'll see what happens. Frank, next video, it's probably going to be an if I could only have one, and the 365 most likely will be involved. I've got some other if I could only have ones planned, but my X5 is actually back at SIG getting the trigger job, the trigger upgrade as well. And you're probably thinking, didn't I put out a video that kind of slammed SIG a little bit for it? I did. But at the end of the day, it still should probably be done. And if I want to get some of the, like the Apex upgrades and that sort of thing, I want to make sure that I've got the new upgraded trigger. So there's a reason behind that. But anyways, Stephen, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Andrew, really appreciate that as well. You guys, once again, so much fun. Really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. This is a blast. I mean, obviously, Big Johnson in 1776 and I have just a ton of fun together, and that's the primary chat. That's where we all get to have a good time with you guys and make fun of each other, which we do often. But this is kind of fun. This is something a little bit different. So I'll do this periodically. I can't say how often, but whenever the bourbon is flowing, I suppose we will do this. So Stephen, thanks again for the awesome title inspiration. That will stay there for sure. You guys, it's about time to hang this up. Harry, it's good to see you. Just saw you check in. Let's see, had a P365 come into my shop today. New barrel and slide and barrel still contacting each other. So let's talk a little bit later on, or maybe this weekend. I'm curious about that. So anyways, you guys, once again, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Always a pleasure, always a blast. And it's that time, but I'll see you guys next time. So stay safe and shoot straight.